Tommy Tynan of Plymouth Argyle, the top goal scorer for them this season with 19. And Mo Johnston, the Watford discovery of the season, 21 years old yesterday, with George Riley, he gets the semi-final started. Watford are playing from right to left. That was Bardsley. Number 6 is Lee Cooper, the Plymouth captain. Busy midfield player. Uzel is the left back. Tynan now. Steve Terry. The pitch looks in good condition. Had it watered, there's plenty of grass on it. And Villa Park, always a stately home for semi-finals. It was nicely laid off there by Tynan to Rodgers. Andy Rodgers takes on Bardsley. They've got players in the middle. David Phillips arriving. And Plymouth launch the first threat. They're not very tall, the men who will be looking for the header, but Uzel will go up onto the goal line. It's been taken quickly and crossed, and Staniforth nearly got in. Bardsley did. Gordon Nisbet. Lindsay Smith had a fling at it, didn't get hold of it. And it was Price who'll want to get into the game early. Says he likes the big occasion though, and he's played in the UEFA Cup, Neil Price. Hodges, Nisbet, nicely round. And the big question on this side of the field is, can John Barnes win the match for Watford on the left flank? Nisbet, Hodges. Nisbet to Lindsay Smith. Hodges again, took it down nicely. That's Staniforth. It's back inside again, Rostron cleared. And a good, purposeful start here by the third division team. That was Les Taylor with the touch, Nigel Callaghan. In goes Rostron. Callaghan once more for Watford. 3 ahead of him. Phillips. Was forward by Price. Nisbet. Oh, only as far as Barnes. Goes through 2 of them, John Barnes. And Harrison, the third man, got the tackle in. Callaghan will take the corner. George Riley's at the near post. Steve Terry is up. And the flick by Barnes, corner again. And Crudgington comes a long way to try and foil Steve Terry. And Tommy Tynan on the far side, able to get the ball away. As far as Rodgers. Phillips. Oh, my word. That was cut out by Terry, or it would have found Hodges. And now George Riley up against Lindsay Smith, an old colleague at Cambridge. But Riley has a 4-inch height advantage at 6'3" over Lindsay Smith, who's 5'11". That's Staniforth. Nisbet. Price. The long ball forward, typical Watford. Familiar sight on semi-final day. Villa Park packed. That was Rostron. Then Uzel. Then Sinnott. Nisbet and Barnes. That's going to be quite a tussle. He's an experienced player, Gordon Nisbet. John Barnes can be such a menace. It's going to be a marking job done there. Hodges has come back as well to help. Riley. Price. Brisk opening 5 minutes here. Phillips for Plymouth Argyle. Bardsley for Watford. Lofts it forward. Nigel Callaghan falling under scrutiny from Uzel and the referee, who said no foul. Tynan. Staniforth. Lee Cooper. Rodgers had moved into the centre then. Hodges. And Rodgers is there again, trying to turn Bardsley. And Tynan's on the near post. Can he tuck it back? He did to Nisbet in the end. And the drive, I think it caught Steve Terry as it went through. It's a corner. Nisbet was the player who had the shot. Good effort. Now Rodgers, the outside left, who scored direct from a corner at Derby, remember, is going to take this one. Away by big George Riley. Nisbet again. Another deflection off a Watford player. Lindsay Smith! The first half chance. They hadn't really cleared it, and the deflection carried the ball into the path of Lindsay Smith, who, as we saw at Derby, is dangerous in that area of the field. He hit the post and bar that night. Well, then he skied the ball over in this semi-final. Graham Taylor knew that this would be no easy match for the First Division side. Rodgers. So a bright early spell from the underdogs here. There's Taylor, colliding with Uzel. Free kick to Watford. Little John Hoare wondering whether his team would freeze. Well, the early signs are they haven't. Bardsley with the kick. Uzel. Down the line is Gordon Staniforth, number 10. Rodgers backed him up. Lee Cooper. And he's looking for Rodgers again, but Bardsley. Forward to Riley. Harrison. There's an offside flag up as Watford pushed out. Bardsley. Riley. There's Uzel. Staniforth. Rodgers. Oh. Skip past two. Cooper. Hodges. Good play by Plymouth. Tynan. Good ball and cleared by Price. Cooper will take this one. And that's Lindsay Smith up with George Riley and pushing him. Old adversaries, but also former teammates at Cambridge United. Hodges. Staniforth. Watford at the minute can't get control of the game. It's early days. This is Sinnott. Staniforth. Rodgers hugging that left touchline for Plymouth. Shook them both off. Tynan. Cooper. Hodges. Little ball in for Tynan. That's his turn. Watford having some blocking to do here. Nisbet. Taylor's tackle. Then Rostron. Now Johnston. Can it go right? It will now. Callahan. And Watford stream forward. It's George Riley behind Cooper here. Johnston's in the centre, so is Barnes, and Riley shoots over. It's such a new occasion for the supporters of the two teams involved today. Watford's only other semi-final back in 1970 at White Hart Lane, but certainly before the present club was constructed and the present team, and Plymouth, who've never been to this stage before. What a day for the fans. Terry. Really driven, and Price here at left back, able to get the ball forward to Mo Johnston. Rostron is running on, marked by Phillips, who got a foot in. That header was by Lee Sinnott, and it's forward by Bardsley. Smith with Riley. Hodges. Sinnott. Two teams met in the third round of the FA Cup last season, coincidentally, when Watford won by 2-0 at Vicarage Road. Taylor, Barnes. Terry. Nisbet. Sinnott. Finally it comes to Hodges. Now Staniforth. Nisbet forward. Back by Price. All a bit untidy at the moment, but here's Barnes. Riley's coming towards the near post. Oh, he got a fleck and it's there! George Riley came in, and Watford are in front after 13 minutes. John Barnes, the man they thought might win the match, got away on the left. Riley stayed over on the far side. He timed his run perfectly to meet the cross, and Watford are in the lead. So, the third division underdogs, having started so well, find themselves a goal down. But here's Rodgers. And that was awkward for Steve Sherwood. It's a corner. Now, a test of the Plymouth character. Can they settle them down? Uzel has gone up for the corner. Cooper's there as well. And the flick on was by Uzel, and Tommy Tynan's in there. And the shot by Hodges. And Watford living dangerously. How vulnerable a team is when they've just scored. And from that scramble, Plymouth on another day might have snatched an equaliser. Well, they knew Riley would be a threat, and when the supply line comes in from the wings, which Watford used so well, there's always the chance of a goal, but it was the first dangerous Watford attack. Tynan. Rodgers. On by Mo Johnston to Callahan. And Barnes is free on this side if you can see him. The man in the way was Lindsay Smith. Here's Hodges. Tynan. Forward by Phillips, good ball, Staniforth. And back by Price. Header by Riley, now Johnston and now Barnes. And these are dangerous times for Plymouth. Callahan's cross, oh, and it was off the defender. Gordon Nisbet, who was covering, was the player that got his head to the ball. Good cross by the other winger this time, Nigel Callahan. Lee Cooper. This is Rodgers. Johnston down the right. Riley in the centre. And an easy one for Crudgington, who hadn't had a save to make when that ball flew past him. This is Staniforth. Johnston. Oh. That was a foul by Harrison. Oh, has the wind been taken out of Plymouth's sails early in this semi-final? Only time will tell, but Watford's confidence is high now. Steve Terry has pushed up number 5. Terry is closing in on the keeper. Flags up on the far side. Referee has let play go. This is Les Taylor. Trying to get round Lee Cooper, and it's still Taylor. He miskicked it. Riley didn't. Saved by Crudgington. Good effort on the turn by George Riley. But Jeff Crudgington, who actually began his league career with Aston Villa, back on familiar ground today, made a fine stop, and he's kept Plymouth in the game. Here's Hodges. And the player hurt in the last Watford attack was Mo Johnston. Causing difficulties for Plymouth. Here's Hodges. Tynan is in there. Away by Les Taylor. Johnston, a flick on for Riley against Lindsay Smith. Free kick's been given. Taylor. Here's Staniforth. Lee Sinnott, the youngest player on the pitch. late 18. Callahan. Three waiting in the centre for Watford. It's a good cross, Johnston! Well, when you talk about Watford, you talk about wing play, and they're real wingers, not just midfield players or converted fullbacks. They really do attack the line and get the crosses in orthodox fashion, and it makes for opportunity and excitement in the area. Callahan the provider, Johnston just too high. Staniforth turning and finds Hodges. Good position here. Took it early and just wide. Watford were caught square and sleeping. Staniforth fed Hodges, and he took the shot very early, which might have been the right thing to do. Didn't miss by much. That was Rostron. Callahan. Uzel. Staniforth is chasing, and they were wanting Sherwood to come, which he did. There's Riley. Johnson's pulled away. Riley's shot. Incidentally, that goal was Watford's 89th of the season in all competitions. Says something for attacking football. Rodgers back to Uzel. To Phillips, and here's Tynan, nicely laid off that by Staniforth earlier. Here's Rodgers. Plymouth have got 6 players forward in this attack. Rodgers on the ball. Tynan. Good effort on the turn by a player who began his professional career with Liverpool but never got into the first team. Tommy Tynan. Halfway through the first half, and it's Mo Johnston for Watford. And the cross turned away by Nisbet. Johnston again, headed back across, and Nisbet's header out. Rostron, and now Barnes. And Price has come forward, turned away by Crutchington, and put in on the far side, but the flag up, Nigel Callahan's effort, wiped out for an offside. The red flag there of linesman Roger Dilks, who spotted the player in the offside position, and it doesn't count. So the Watford fans have seen their team strike first in this semi-final. And Smith is up with a good flick. Tynan! And Terry will need to get there. This is Johnston. Riley. Staniforth showed some good touches early on. Hodges and Tynan, good build-up by Plymouth. It's measured. And that was two. Tynan with the flick. And the collision. As Tynan flicked the ball on. And at the other end, Riley's away. Oh, checked by Harrison. And that was deliberate, and it looks like a booking for Chris Harrison. But the problem for Plymouth was that they were still wondering about the injury at the other end, because when Steve Sherwood came to collect the ball, David Phillips collided with him and was hurt. The player booked is number 4, Chris Harrison. Callahan with the kick, and away by Uzel. Callahan again. Plymouth's real concern there was for the injury at the other end, because Lee Cooper had collided with Steve Sherwood as he went through for the ball, and he got hurt. Cooper's all right again now. Here's Price, Johnston. This is Riley. Here's Tynan. And Harrison. Header by Sinnott, now Price. Phillips. Rogers. Cooper's made a run forward here, number 6. He's in a good position, but Les Taylor did the right thing. Who says there's no Watford midfield? He had to go back and defend against Lee Cooper. It's a corner to Plymouth, been played quickly, and Hodges! Was played short to Staniforth, a nice chip in, and Kevin Hodges' flying header not far away. Good stuff from the 3rd Division team. And it draws a mighty response from the West Country fans. Half an hour gone in the semi-final. Watford 1, Plymouth Argyle 0. George Riley, flick on. Watford going to wait for Lee Sinnott to come across to take the throw. They've packed the penalty area. There are 6 men in and around it for Watford. Is going in there. Goal kick. Rogers. Foul. Steve Terry, who wears that protective plaster because he's had about 50 stitches in and around his forehead in his still developing career. Smith's forward again. It's Uzel with the kick. And Sherwood comes to collect it. It doesn't succeed first time. Riley was defending. Barnes. Price. Riley. And And a good run from midfield by Les Taylor. Brilliant, in fact, because it's put Callahan on his way. And there are 3 up with him. And Callahan tries the unexpected. Very good burst from his own half there by Les Taylor. It was a Geordie. Riley. Foul by Riley. Header was by Uzel. Just seems as though Watford have got the greater momentum when they play the more direct football, which is their trademark. But Plymouth have had some good moments, and their build-up has been measured. Riley's in there. So is Mo Johnson with the overhead, and John Barnes. Riley. Roston's down that right-hand side as well. This is Bardsley. And he lost out to Rodgers, and now it's Tynan. Plymouth looking to come square with Lee Cooper. And he's got Hodges outside him. Staniforth's coming to the near post, but the ball just ran away from Hodges. The man who made the break from midfield was the captain, Lee Cooper, who's already had 3 or 4 surging runs from that position, and it's forcing Watford's Les Taylor to go back and mark him. Barnes. Riley, and Barnes is off again, pursued this time by Harrison. Watford have got 3 coming in from the far side. It's still Barnes, and it was going to be driven low for Taylor until Nisbet got in the way. Corner to be taken by Callahan. Header out was by Uzel. Callahan again. And off Nisbet this time as Plymouth defend in depth. Staniforth. And it's Andy Rodgers trying to turn away from Callahan in the last 10 minutes of the first half here. Nisbet for Plymouth. Surging forward. Fine run by Gordon Nisbet. Was he fouled by Lee Sinnott? Play on, Rodgers. And Staniforth. That could have gone anywhere, the clearance by Bardsley. Probing run by Gordon Nisbet from right back. Rodgers. And still Rodgers. And Lindsay Smith, bumping and boring by Riley there. Lindsay Smith felt he might have had a penalty. Joe Worrell had a look and said no. And there's no sustained protest. They know each other so well. Rodgers. Plymouth force a corner again. There goes Uzel. Cooper will take it. That took with the flick across, and Staniforth coming in, almost made contact. Staniforth, the man lurking beyond the far post, coming in on the flick. And these Plymouth supporters believe that their team are still very much in the semi-final, even though they're a goal down, and that attack proved it. Riley's header on, Mo Johnston, Les Taylor. Didn't get the right weight on the pass to Callahan, and the long clearance brings Sherwood hurrying out of his penalty area. He found Riley. And it was Taylor making the run, and this time it's Crudgington. End-to-end stuff here. Staniforth's flick on, Tommy Tynan waiting for support, Rodgers on the left wing. Uzel. And Tynan, can he set this one up for Rodgers? Not quite. Cooper retrieves. Tynan again. Well, certainly there's been some effective touch play and some thoughtful football from Plymouth Argyle, and Tommy Tynan has led the line well. Bardsley, Riley, Johnston, Riley up against Smith. Callahan will take over. And it was taken by Harrison as Crudgington came for it. Terry. Free kick to Plymouth. Uzel will take the kick for Plymouth. This is Mo Johnston. Harrison across. Watford gaining ground down that right-hand side. They're very adept at just edging a few yards on throw-ins. By forcing throw-ins, that is. Into the last 5 minutes of the first half. And they've packed the penalty area with 5 players here, Watford. And George Riley's header. Staniforth for Plymouth, and they've got men forward here, but Wilf Rostron runs back to foil Kevin Hodges. Here comes Cooper, turned it into Staniforth. Rostron has time to clear. Johnston. The block was by Uzel, offside against Tommy Tynan. The linesman with the yellow flag, Alan Ward from Sleaford in Lincolnshire, spotting Tommy Tynan. Riley on, here's Barnes. It's running for Riley again. And it needed Lindsay Smith after Uzel had challenged first to clear. So Riley still giving Plymouth awkward moments in the air as Watford have another corner. Taylor. And Barnes shot blocked. Phillips for Plymouth. And Staniforth. Let's say the front play of Staniforth and Tynan has been above third division standard in the first half. Held the ball up well. Players who've been around a bit and are relishing this as a chance to prove on a bigger stage than normal that they're good footballers. He's only 5'7", Gordon Staniforth, but he's a very lively player. So a free kick to Watford. To be taken by Bardsley, 19-year-old fullback. And it's Callahan there being challenged by Andy Rogers with a couple of minutes left in the first half. Watford waiting for John Barnes to go across to take the free kick. They do bend these in at times very dangerously, Watford. It's all about the angle and the players running in. And Johnston was one of those, and Riley was the man that got nearest to it with Lindsay Smith as Johnston waited for the flick on. Barnes, Johnston, Riley, and here's Rostron, and they've got 5 players forward waiting for a cross. 6 now. Taylor. Riley's there again. And the first half appears to be ending with Watford on the offensive. There won't be much stoppage time. Price. And Callahan's up there. That was Rogers, then Bardsley. And now Staniforth. Callahan. Steve Terry. Bounced over Johnston. Here's Rostron, and now Riley. And Barnes will try and make something of it for Watford. Headed out by Lindsay Smith. It's a corner to Watford right at the end of the first half. Here's Les Taylor. So at the halfway stage in this semi-final, it's the First Division team who hold the cards with a 1-goal lead. Graham Taylor's side, who scored in their first dangerous attack, although Plymouth from the third division produced some good moments and made it quite an open game. Half-time then, Plymouth Argyle 0, Watford 1.
Viasat Sport 2 brings you the greatest moments in the history of boxing. You can watch more than 300 classic fights with all the greatest champs of the world. Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano, Sugar Ray Robinson, Robert Duran, Sonny Liston, George Foreman, Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali. It's boxing's greatest. It's Golden Bouts on Viasat 2.
NASCAR, the world's most daring race, where complete nutters chuck themselves around America's oval racetracks 38 times a year. Viasat Sport 2 brings you all the NASCAR races live from the USA. The stakes are high, so are the prizes. Follow all 38 races worth millions of dollars. NASCAR, live on Viasat Sport 2.
The unpredictable nature of the FA Cup illustrated by what happened to these two clubs back in the third round when Watford were 2-0 down at Luton, I recall, and Plymouth saved themselves with a last-minute penalty against Newport County. Often acts of brinkmanship in the early rounds lead to days of glory like this later on. Glory certainly for one team anyway in the semi-final, and often obscurity for the others. Don't often remember semi-final losers. It's Bardsley putting it back. And Plymouth for the moment losing this one by 1-0. That was Smith. And it was Hodges to Tynan. Phillips is in support, so is Cooper. But Steve Terry in well for Watford. There was a big gap on this side of the field. Lindsay Smith filled it. Here's Bardsley. And Johnson getting ahead to it. Here's Barnes. Still Barnes, and here's Riley. Away by Smith. And then by Nisbet. Price. Rostrom. Will Rostrom, a very adaptable player. He was a winger in his Arsenal and Sunderland days. Mostly left back for Watford this season, but able to switch into midfield to fill the hole left by Kenny Jackett. Corner to Watford to be taken by Nigel Callaghan. And Crudgington fisting it away from Riley, only as far as Callaghan again. Uzel. Nice touch by Rodgers and then by Tynan to get the ball back to him. Still Rodgers. Taking on Bardsley. He's got Cooper in support here. That's asking too much of Uzel. So it's Riley's goal that separates the two sides. And there's Riley taking a challenge from Lindsay Smith. Les Taylor a quick free kick, and it's released Mo Johnston. And here's Callaghan. The block was by Harrison. Staniforth trying to shake off Sinnott. And here's Nisbet. Terry. Just stumbling a bit there, Steve Terry, but recovering. Big test for him in a way, with Steve Sims, the first choice centre-half, on the injured list for a few weeks now. was Smith. This is Terry again. A long ball pursued by Barnes. So often that kind of early ball forward forces for Watford, if not a goal-scoring opportunity, at least a throw-in or a corner. And they know how to use those. Price. They'll force a corner this time too. And Barnes, and it was Uzel this time for another corner. Anxious time for Plymouth, 5 minutes into the second half. They can't afford to concede a second goal at this stage. And Barnes flick on. Bad timing by Lee Sinnott, his jump sending him into the back of Staniforth. So it's Harrison with the kick for Plymouth. There's Tynan. Smith is forward. Rodgers. Into Tynan, a chance here, and it was a drive by Staniforth, which he didn't get fully behind, I don't think. It needed really hammering that, and Sherwood saw plenty of it. Barnes to Riley. Oh, that was important, that challenge by Harrison. It was high kicking by Riley, actually. But he was trying to hook the ball through to Mo Johnston. And dangerous play is the decision. Harrison, though, a good interception. Flag up for offside. Rostrom. Now it's Callahan who's switched to the left wing to take on Nisbet and to foul him too. Watford have switched their wingers for the moment. Callahan is playing on the left and John Barnes has moved to the right. Header by Rostrom. Phillips forward. To Rodgers. Bardsley was quick. The flag was up. Uzel on Barnes. And that's Lindsay Smith covering. On the transfer list, actually, Lindsay Smith. Tynan. Forward by Rodgers. Staniforth marked by Sinnott. And he's foxed him. And there are three in the middle here for Plymouth. And Hodges arriving, taken out by Price. Good defending by the 20-year-old in his first FA Cup tie. Plymouth are moving well again. Cooper trying to get the flick on it. Here's Phillips. Watford wingers have now swapped back again to their normal flank. Callahan on the right, Barnes on the left. Riley. Callahan. Away by Harrison. Well, certainly not a classic, but plenty of good movement by both sides. With 10 minutes gone in the second half, and Watford leading by 1-0. Sinnott with the throw. Offside. Flag was up very early, as soon as Crudgington released the ball, actually. Terry takes the kick. There's Riley, away by Phillips. Riley, that's Johnston, whose goal-scoring record is worth noting again. He's got 23 in his last 27 matches for Watford and Scotland. That's since the 3rd of December. If you count the goals he scored for Partick before he came south, his total for the season is 36. Rodgers for Plymouth. Staniforth. They're still very much in it, and will be until or unless Watford get a second goal. Rodgers. And Nigel Callahan is penalised. Lindsay Smith is coming in, George Riley able to beat him to it. Rostron tries to get Watford moving, a good break by him, a fine break in fact by Wilf Rostron. And it took Gordon Nisbet at full stretch to stop him. So much enthusiasm about the way Watford play, epitomised by the burst then from the captain from his own penalty area. Here's Tynan. And now it's Uzel. Callahan. Staniforth to Cooper. Oh, it's a bad pass, but John Barnes stumbled a bit and Nisbet got it forward to Tynan. He does like to take his shots quickly on the turn, Tommy Tynan. You can see why last season with Newport, he was the highest scorer in the country. Riley. Barnes. And still Barnes. And Riley just needed a touch out to Johnston. It got one then from Rostron. And Johnston's cross And Riley goes in, and that's so close. And how it stayed out, only the people tangled up there will really know. And that's George Riley. And Big John Uzel. The cross came from Mo Johnston. Riley got tangled up with Uzel and the ball trickled wide of the post. That was Taylor. Uzel. Tynan. Staniforth. Those two have played really well for Plymouth. This is Andy Rodgers. Uzel. Blocked by Callahan. Now Lindsay Smith. Free kick to Plymouth. 1 hour gone in the semi-final at Villa Park. Watford lead by 1-0, but Plymouth showing a lot of promise still. Uzel with the kick. Tynan. And nobody to feed off him there. The flag actually is up on the far side, but the referee didn't see it in time, and it's now gone down again. Actually, he has acknowledged the linesman, but there was an advantage anyway. Terry. Now Riley. Price. It's too long. Staniforth. Rodgers. And it's still Andy Rodgers. And this is Hodges. Rodgers again. Behind him is Uzel. The ball is out. First half rhythm of the match has dipped a little early in the second as Watford protect this 1-goal lead. Here's Taylor. A missed kick by Uzel. And that seemed a needless corner to give away. Lindsay Smith and Crudgington falling out over it. And so Watford have got a corner out of absolutely nothing. It's a totally safe ball for the defence, it seemed. And Riley's there again, and Crudgington's coming for it. There's Callahan. Little push, was it, by Andy Rodgers? Well, the linesman said carry on, which he did. But here's Bardsley. That's really driven to the far side, too long. And it'll be retrieved by Kevin Hodges for Plymouth. On by Tynan, Staniforth. Lee Sinnott, born at Pelsall, not far from here. In the Midlands, he played for Walsall before going to Watford and also for England youth. This is Staniforth. Nisbet. Cooper forward. And Sherwood says that's mine. The 28th post-war FA Cup semi-final to be staged at Villa Park. Smith. Bardsley. Riley. This is Johnston. Callahan. Oh, well played. And Barnes is on the far side with the header back. And Phillips cleared. Good wing play again from Nigel Callaghan. Barnes. Price. Les Taylor now. That's good play by him. And Taylor pulls it across. Harrison's header. Rostron back in for Barnes. And now Nisbet. Staniforth trying to hold it up for Hodges, and he did. Play on, says the referee, and Rostron breaks. Barnes. And away by Uzel. Far post there is Johnston. And Riley's up. And Plymouth still defending well at corners. Price. And again, Riley gets a touch, and here's Johnston. That's a nice effort. Riley wasn't far enough forward to apply a touch. He might now. Les Taylor. And Phillips breaks for Plymouth. Still plenty of energy in this third division outfit. Lee Sinnott got in well there. And it was Barnes who'd skipped away from Nisbet when he was tripped. And that's going to be the second booking for Plymouth Argyle. Gordon Nisbet to follow Chris Harrison into the notebook of referee Joe Worrell. So a free kick to Watford, to be taken by Neil Price. And here's Taylor. And Taylor again. That's Phillips. Good play. Rodgers. Staniforth back to Rodgers. Bardsley a fine tackle. And an interesting looking ball. He nearly cleared Harrison for Johnston to latch onto it. Offside against Tynan. There's Terry. Smith's header. Phillips' clearance. And now Staniforth with Sinnott. Halfway through the second half, Watford of the First Division lead Plymouth of the Third by George Riley's goal, scored in 13 minutes in the first half. Here comes Rostron. Now Les Taylor. Bardsley. Forward for Riley. Off the knee, and Smith turned it back, but only for a corner. And Barnes flick on, and Taylor comes in, and Plymouth have survived again. Staniforth, a good piece of control. That was neat and instant. But he can't get by Sinnott, who's shown no sign of nerves, the youngest player on the pitch. Uzel. It's going straight to Price. He's been very calm too. 20-year-old Neil Price, called in this morning. That was Harrison. That was Barnes. That was Riley. Foot up though by him. They're having quite a tussle, those two, the former Cambridge pair. But Riley for the moment is ahead because he scored the goal. Smith's team, though, not out of the match yet. Rogers, Phillips, Staniforth. Again, nice build-up by Plymouth. Rogers strikes Rostron. Here's Lee Cooper. They're appealing, but Terry stayed back. Uzel. And that's Price. Staniforth. Play on. Challenge was by Sinnott. Callahan now. Challenged by Tynan. Joe Worrell's allowed play to flow whenever he can. It's good refereeing. This is Bardsley. Rogers. Price. 20 minutes left here. And Watford still have the edge with Rostron. This is Rogers. Well, nobody can say that Plymouth haven't deserved the right to be here. Staniforth to Nisbet. In goes Sinnott, and that's going to be a Watford throw. John Hoare knowing that a bit more momentum now, perhaps if they could just increase it by a gear, the third division team could still have a say here. Hasn't been a great deal of incident, as Graham Taylor would admit, in this second half, but it's Plymouth on the attack. Tynan. Nisbet. Staniforth. And Steve Terry having to apply his head to that. Here's John Uzel. And Tynan. They've had shooting opportunities, Plymouth, but probably Tommy Tynan would admit he hasn't caught one absolutely right yet. Play on to the referee. Bardsley clears. Here's Riley. This time a free kick is given against Riley for the challenge on Smith. Tynan's flick. And Sinnott. Callahan. Barnes touch, Callahan again, the two wingers coming in field, and there are two to the left. One of them is Mo Johnston. Forward again by Price. Riley jumping. And Nisbet still looking solid at right back. Hodges. Price. And again, Smith tangling with Riley. It's all arms and legs again in there. Rostron. And Terry's header. Now Callahan. Bardsley to cover hit for Watford. That was Terry. Riley is chasing, and Crudgington coming off his line. Didn't quite make it. Mo Johnston. I wonder if the referee will penalise Riley for the challenge on the goalkeeper. Certainly, Crudgington coming out was involved in a collision with Riley, but no free kick appears to be given, so if it wasn't a foul, then a chance to Mo Johnston, really. Foul by Sinnott. Cooper finds Phillips for Plymouth. Oh, Steve Terry saw that. Went through 2 tackles. Les Taylor. Actually, Terry got hurt in that last challenge. This is Bardsley. That's meant for Riley. Harrison is covering for Plymouth. And with 15 minutes to go, indeed 15 minutes away from Wembley as far as Watford are concerned, they have an injury to Steve Terry, who emerged from defence there to go through 2 strong tackles and then got hurt as he got through a third. I think it was Lee Cooper, the last player that Steve Terry actually collided with. But Richard Jobson, the substitute, is warming up in case. And so too is the Plymouth number 12, Mark Rowe, who's only 19. Graham Taylor and John Ward, one of his coaches there next to him, knowing now, as the supporters behind them know, how close they are to Watford's first FA Cup final. John Hoare knows that time is running out if Plymouth are going to make history. Steve Terry is back in the action. Callahan. And again, Johnston. Harrison. That's one for Tommy Tynan to chase. Now, can they get anybody forward in support? Staniforth's trying hard, and they've got 2 coming now from midfield. One of them being Hodges. Cooper is square, number 6. Nisbet. Rogers. Taking on Price. Corner to Plymouth. Quickly taken, and Rogers and Cooper working it, and the floated cross headed back in by Staniforth, and a chance for Lindsay Smith maybe. Actually, that was a combination of the 2 defenders who go up for corners, because Uzel headed the ball back across the goal and Lindsay Smith headed it wide. Barnes. 12 minutes left. John Barnes just questioning the referee's decision for a moment there. 12 minutes for Plymouth to reawaken their dream, or for Watford to go through to the final. Nisbet takes the kick. Header on by Phillips. Staniforth. Still. And Taylor belts it forward. We haven't seen much of Watford's attack these last few minutes. Barnes trying to put that right. And my feeling about Steve Terry is that he won't be able to carry on at full pace if he carries on at all. He's hobbling, and the movement on the Watford bench surely to bring on Richard Jobson. In by Price. Header out by Harrison. Rostron. Now Barnes. Good skill by Barnes. So Steve Terry is going to hobble off with about 11 minutes left, and he'll be replaced by Richard Jobson, whose only other appearance in the FA Cup competition was for Burton Albion. Richard Jobson, who's still not 21. Now, how are Watford going to reorganise? Will George Riley, I wonder, go back and play centre-half? He would seem to be a candidate at 6'3". He's certainly there for the moment, anyway. And Plymouth with a chance here. It was Hodges who didn't quite get hold of the shot, and Rodgers wide, but they'll tell you at Northampton and Cambridge that George Riley can play at centre-half as well as at centre-forward, and it does appear that in the last 10 minutes of this FA Cup semi-final, the man whose goal may take Watford to Wembley has had to totally change his role. And they've moved Barnes into centre-forward and got Jobson on the left. Here's Johnston. And that was Barnes, who's moved now into Riley's position. Andy Rodgers. Nisbet. This is Cooper. Harrison. In the way was Wilf Rostron. Jobson's making a run down the left wing. Square is Les Taylor. It's a space opening up in front of him here for the shot. And it just skips past the post, but Les Taylor, who scored a marvellous goal at Birmingham in the last round, just down the road, trying to settle the semi-final there, because surely a second goal now for Watford would do just that. Harrison. What have Plymouth got left? That's the question now. They've certainly got Lindsay Smith up for the set play. Tynan. Hodges is just behind him. So too here is Harrison. It's an intelligent ball. Rodgers. Barnes went for it. Smith was blocked by Bardsley. And forward by Callaghan. And can Uzel stop Mo Johnston? He did it first, and that was enough. There's Riley in defence. And who got the bang in the face was Staniforth. Barnes. Oh, and it was Les Taylor's back pass, and David Phillips read it. There's Tynan. Cooper for Plymouth. And Rodgers making a spirited run on the left, blocked by Riley. Rodgers again. But he switched from left to right, Rodgers, these last few minutes. Here's Staniforth. It's Rodgers again. Little ball in. Riley's header out. Staniforth with a chance. Oh, good tackle by Riley, the emergency centre-half. Nisbet. And Plymouth are having a good little spell here. Nisbet's cross. And Sherwood comes and misses it completely. Or rather, fumbles it, and Bardsley clears. Harrison back in for Plymouth. Header this time was by Les Taylor. Now Uzel. And Watford need to just get the ball down and control things a bit. Jobson takes on Nisbet. Jobson with a fresh pair of legs, remember. Steve Sherwood had an anxious moment then. And so too did Graham Taylor. Jobson. And Crudgington in difficulties. Taylor. Blocked by Uzel. And Watford will be glad to get a breather there, because Plymouth had about 5 or 6 minutes in the Watford half and began to suggest the match may not be over. In fact, there are 5 minutes on the watch. There would be extra time, incidentally, if Plymouth were to equalise. Barnes. Callahan. And Crudgington will need to come for this. Are Watford now on their way to Wembley? Just 5 minutes away. Forward by Harrison as Plymouth prepare for a defiant last gesture. Les Taylor, Rostron, and it's opening up here for Watford. They've got 5 against 4. Callahan. It's Callahan again. Taylor. Bardsley missed his tackle, but not the second time. Plymouth don't quite seem to know what to do with the throw. It's Uzel. Tynan is still willing. Riley still dominating in the air. Bardsley forward. Smith. And Riley again, he's performing heroics back there. Barnes a good turn. Made himself some space. And found Callahan. 3 minutes to go. Callahan skips past Uzel. 3 coming in from the far side for Watford. And he was taken on the edge of the area. Nigel Callahan, as he threatened to go by Lindsay Smith as well. So, time for a few words between Billy Hales and Graham Taylor there. John Hoare obviously feeling the sands of time are running out for him now. His team are defending, they're a goal behind, they've given away a free kick. And Callahan drove it. And big George Riley, the dual-purpose player today. Lee Cooper for Plymouth. Here's the third division dream dying. Tommy Tynan tries to suggest it won't be, and so does Hodges here. Needs a header out by Sinnott and also by Barnes and by Callahan, and Watford won them all. Now Mo Johnston to Bardsley, and it's too far ahead of Callahan. Graham Taylor's team less than 2 minutes away. Jobson to Barnes. Looked like a foul by Rostron. Plymouth have the ball. Lee Cooper forward. Header by Price. Are we going to have a dramatic finish? If we are, it's got to come from Plymouth and come quickly, because Lee Sinnott is in there to clear. Nisbet to Staniforth. it's Staniforth, and he pulled it back for Hodges to shoot. And what on earth can you say about that? It was so close that that's sometimes the difference between getting to a cup final and getting knocked out. Staniforth, some trickery on the line. It was well conceived, and he pulled the ball back to little Kevin Hodges, and Watford was surviving there by the width of a goalpost. In the last minute as well. Barnes. That's Uzel. Lindsay Smith was fouled. We're coming into time to be added on for stoppages. This must surely be Plymouth Argyle's last chance. They're throwing everybody forward. It's aimed towards Lindsay Smith. And there's a chance here for Tynan. No, there isn't. Watford had pulled them all back apart from Mo Johnston. And the header on could find Callahan. And he could make for the corner. Gordon Nisbet. Just look at them on the bench. And on that one too, such a contrast in expressions. Here's Jobson for Watford. Lifts it back, and it's Uzel's half clearance. Taylor! Jeff Crudgington knows that time is almost up. Sinnott. Callahan. And they're going to want this to run through to Sherwood or Watford as John Uzel gets a spot of cramp for Plymouth. And the long kick being chased by Barnes. And Watford are through to Wembley for the first time in their history. George Riley's goal wins the semi-final and takes this remarkable story of Graham Taylor's club a stage further. In the 4th division 6 years ago, but now through to the FA Cup final after winning 3 promotions and finishing second in the 1st division last season. It's some tale, this, unparalleled in modern football. But on the same day, as they celebrate, it's bad luck for Plymouth Argyle, whose 3rd division challenge ended here with some dignity.